All right. All right, Shalom. All right, Shalom to the elect of Yahshua and to the other men, women, and children of our nation, who Yahawah, why Yahweh is going to have mercy upon them. Shalom to all of you. Shema, Yahshua, Yahawah, NAWA, Yahawah, Echad, BARAK Yahawah, BARAK YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QaDash Holy, Halalyam, NAWA, NAWA, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, QaDash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops and great millstone, and much due respect to the sincere Akim who are labor and works. And shalom to you believers, to the Akim wa Aqua, which will be your brothers, and few of the sincere sisters who do subscribe to this group. All right. Apparatus out that today's lesson is edifying, playing upon the table, straight to the point. All right, I'm your brother Malkia, representing warriors for Yahawashi in Pasadena, Texas camp. All right. Today's lesson is going into zombie-like apocalypse is very possible in the near future. All right, I got some scriptures I put together. I'm gonna just get what I put here, and I'm gonna show you what articles I'm gonna go into. Get it from the brother Ioana. He has on his page. Bear with me. There's four articles, but pretty much goes into the same thing. So the first one I'm gonna get out of the four, I'm gonna make this one right here. All right, and it says, it reads, U.S. CDC prepares for zombie apocalypse, urges people to join zombie task force. All right. It says, and this is from republicworld.com news. And it says here, while providing guidelines for the coronavirus pandemic, the CDC updated the guidelines for another extreme occurrence, that is a zombie apocalypse. Okay. And that word pandemic is one of the similar terms for pestilences. Pestilence that is mentioned in the Bible a few times as one of the plagues that's going to be sent upon the world. Pestilences. Okay. It says, while providing guidelines for the coronavirus pandemic, the CDC updated the guidelines for another extreme occurrence, that is a zombie apocalypse. Okay. Let me get another one from my brother. All right. And this is the one I'm gonna get right now. It says zombie Vicky corpses can still spread the virus for weeks after death, study finds. And there has been like, I think videos, if I'm not mistaken. Someone was showing how a lot of the corpses, the corpses that did receive the Crown Vicky, right? You know, the damn hot sauce, the jump shot. They had these nanoparticles, you know, that was still living inside of them, while the body is dead, right? What's Lakia? While the spirit was no longer in these corpses, in these bodies, but pretty much the body can still, let's say, resurrect because of what's flowing through the blood cells that's within the body. It can be activated. It's alive. Okay. That's why Amazon has they have this thing. I forgot what it's called, but when you actually read into like, when you actually read a certain section, it goes into like people being reanimated. It's around that line somewhere. You know, think of like zombie, like come back from the dead, let's say. Okay. It reads again. It says zombie Vicky Corpses can still spread the virus for weeks after death, study finds. For those who merely attend funerals, the greatest risk of catching the Vicky at them is from others who have the virus, not from corpse. A lot of these corpses do have it already. All right. Those who took the fucking jump shot. Another one right here. Okay. If you're ready for a zombie apocalypse, then you're ready for any emergency. Now, any emergency that you're going to be ready for is one, you're serving YAHAWASHI. You're serving the power that's orchestrating all of this, everything. And you'll be ready for it when you in this truth, in this wise counsel. But if you're outside of this wise counsel, you're not going to be ready for when all hell breaks loose. Okay? There's only one way you're going to be ready for any emergency, and that's if you have this wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh that's going to keep you stable in those times. Like Isaiah 33, 6 says that, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. Which wisdom and knowledge? The wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh. Okay, not wisdom and knowledge of CDC. Okay, man's wisdom of this world. It says if you're ready for a zombie apocalypse, then you're ready for any emergency. There's only one way to be ready for any emergency, and that's having this wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Spirit and power Yahweh. Other than that, you ain't gonna be ready. All right. I'm gonna get another one. This is the other one right here. It says Amazon updates its terms of service. It says Amazon updates its terms of service to cover the zombie apocalypse. Okay. Now, this is not too far out to happen. It's not. All right. Nothing is impossible for our power, right? Nothing is impossible because he's the one that orchestrates everything. Okay. All right. So, brother got more articles related to this. It says Amazon wrote a zombie apocalypse clause into its terms of service, and here's why they do. If I wish I remembered the section, the title of the section, but it's a real thing on Amazon's website. It says CDC's zombie preparedness guide was created to test how people react in an emergency. That's these damn devils orchestrators. They want it to happen. Really is our power, Yahweh, but he's using Esau Edom, so-called white men, to make things happen, to cause evil. Okay. All right. It says CDC's zombie preparedness guide was created to test how people will react in an emergency. All right. So we don't get the script of stuff now. Okay. Let's get that quick. All right. So the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, and verse 39, and it reads, "See now that I, even I am He, and there is no God with me." Right? No Buddha, Jesus Christ, Santa Maria, the universe, crystals, your ancestors, your higher self, your free spirit, Allah, you name it. Okay. Allah, yeah. Looks like they're fucking with the feed, as always. Salakia. All right, so I'm gonna get that again. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, and verse 39. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. There's no Jesus Christ with Yahweh. There's no Buddha with YAHAWASHI Yahushai. There's no Santa Maria with YAHAWASHI Yahushai. There's no Allah with YAHAWASHI Yahushai. There's no universe or your higher self or your ancestors. No, there's only one power, right? YAHAWASHI Yahushai. See now that I, even I am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So Buddha cannot deliver you out of the hands of Yahweh Shai. Jesus Christ cannot deliver you out of the hands of Yahweh Shai. Allah, the universe, your higher self, your zodiac signs, your free spirit, and whatever other doctrines that Esau Edom has pushed out to the people. Okay. See now that I, even I am He, there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Okay, we're going to get a precept for that. So we just went into that is our power, Yahweh Shai, that kills, he makes alive. Whoever is wounded, whoever is heals, that's all Yahweh Shai's work. All right, he gets all the credit. Yahweh Shai. Let me get a precept for that. So the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, do all these things. Okay? So whenever someone dies, whenever someone is healed, whenever someone dies or lives, someone who was wounded, who's healed, that's Yahweh Shai. Whenever something bad happened, evil times, like for example, over there in Turkey and Syria, that 7.8 earthquake that has so far reportedly has killed, I think, like over 6,000 people, literally, like it's in thousands, right? That's what? That's evil. That's bad times. How power did that? It stays here. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. I'm reading from the KJV 1611 version. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. He's a power of balance. Okay. I, the Lord Yahawah, BAHASHAM Yahushai, do all these things. Okay. He does all these things. Okay. All right. So let's get the book of Hebrews very quick. The Hebrews very quick. Let me get like bear with me. So the book of Hebrews, chapter 10. I want to get verse 31. And it says here, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, Yahweh Shai. And there's countless reasons why it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, Yahweh Shai. Because what? We just read it in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39, that is our power that what? He killeth and makes alive. He decides if you're going to live or fucking die today. Not Jesus Christ, not Buddha, not man. It's Yahawah or Yahawashi. They decide who gets to live, who dies, who gets wounded, and who heals. Creating evil times and good times. Okay? All right, and it's not just that, but it's how he does it, how he's going to judge you. Okay? Now, power can literally, he does everything. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Let's give it an example of why to that. Let me get Isaiah chapter 66. Okay, so the book of Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 4. This is one of many reasons why it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, Yahweh Shai. The book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and 4. I also will choose their delusions. It says, I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. Right? So the prophets are still out here to teach you, to instruct you, give you instruction in righteousness, blowing that trumpet, giving you warning of him, YAHAWASHI. This is that time where our power has called. Okay? But 2/3 of our people, right? 2/3 of our nation did not hear. They scoffed, they mocked, they didn't believe, they refused to fear, they refused to repent to YAHAWASHI. They refused to seek Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Okay? This is why, so our power, he's gonna fuck you up. He's going to choose your delusions and will bring your fears upon you. You best believe a lot of people are afraid of a zombie apocalypse, a zombie-like apocalypse, okay? All right? It's different when you see it on TV, on television for entertainment, but it's going to be different when it's really happening, okay? I also will choose their delusions and I will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, and our power speaks through his prophets. Okay, we are his mouthpieces. Our brothers that we are. It says they did evil before my eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not. So while YAHAWASHI is talking to our people, right, through his prophets, through his teachers, through his men, his flock, or his pastor, 2/3 don't want to hear. Men and women and children don't want to fucking hear. They don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this truth. All right. So guess what? Because you refuse to take heed to this place of repentance, since you refuse to take heed, our power is going to choose your delusions and will bring your fears upon your lives. Okay. Read it again. Isaiah 66 and 4. I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer, and when I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. So instead of repenting and coming back to YAHAWASHI, you continue to be a fucking sodomite. You continue to be wicked as hell. You continue to be conformed onto the likeness of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the wicked, and the other nations, the Goliath. So guess what? Our powers are gonna fuck you up with delusions and bring your fears upon you. And you best believe a lot of people are afraid of a zombie-like apocalypse. Okay? All right? They're afraid of that. And Shalom, Balak, Shalom, YAHAWASHI, Shalom. Shalom. All right. So now I'm gonna get Luke right quick. Get that book of Luke right quick. Let's see. Luke chapter 1, 37. All right, so the book of Luke chapter 1, verse 37. It says, for with Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, no thing shall be impossible. So a zombie-like apocalypse is not impossible for Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI to bring upon this world that he created. Okay? All right? Because the brother just tuning in, I want you to see what I'm going over. Let's see. So I'm going over how over the CDC, they're talking about preparing for like zombie apocalypse and etc. All right. So that's what today's topic is going into. I got it from the brother Yohana's page, so you probably can see it for yourself through the post. All right. So let's see. Let me get that Psalms right quick. Let's see. Psalms. Let me get that Psalms chapter 9 real quick. Hold on. The book of Psalms chapter 9, In verse 16, another reason why it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, YAHAWASHI. The book of Psalms, chapter 9, verse 16. The Lord, Yahweh, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, is known, right? Is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is snare in the work of his own hands. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power because he is known by his judgments. He is known by his judgments. Okay? And our power did a lot of terrible things in the past. And we're entering a time that's never ever going to be like any of the times before, nor ever shall be. Okay? And I'm going to get that too out of RAWCHAA. I'm going to get that in the Good News translation for the book of Psalms, chapter 9, verse 16. The Good News translation goes into the Lord Yahweh, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, has revealed himself by his righteous judgments. And is a righteous thing for our power to do what? To kill those who was wicked as hell, who did wicked before his eyes. The Lord Yahweh, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, has revealed himself by his righteous judgment. And the wicked are trapped by their own deeds. Yep. All right. Esau Edom would just dig in his own fucking pit. 2/3 of our nation are trapped by their own deeds too. Other nations as well too. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna get two more. I'm gonna get two more to pretty much straight to the point. Let me get that book of Matthew right quick, chapter 24, verses 19 to 22, I think. And then we get the Good News translation too. Bear with me. All right, so the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verses 19, 20, 21, and 22 in the KJV. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that get sucked in those days. So, you know, it's going to be a very bad time for pregnant women who does not have a man of the Lord, a man of YAHAWASHI as their head, does not have his seed in them. It's going to be a bad day to be a strong, independent woman, especially a strong, independent, pregnant woman. Halalyam. My bad. Damn, those keeps fucking my feed. I'm gonna read it again. The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verses 19 to 22, KJV. And woe unto them that are with child, right? You pregnant woman that wants to be single in those times, in Jacob's trouble, famine, the day of the Lord, YAHWASHI. And to them that get sucked in those days, even to like newborn babies, all right? Destruction unto you. If our power finds you to be an enemy, okay? Verse 20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. So you better hope you don't catch hell by YAHWASHI during a winter when it's cold as fuck. You better hope a zombie like apocalypse doesn't happen during the winter when it's cold as shit outside, right? Or you know, on your so-called rest day when you're most vulnerable. Verse 21, it says, "For then shall be great tribulation," right? Great trouble, all right? Great suffering. But there shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor never shall be. So it's going to be a time like never before, okay? All right. Verse 22, and except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. It's going to get so bad out here, because remember, verse 21, it's going to be a time like never before. It's going to get so bad that our power literally had a shortening the days for the elect's sake. That's why the days seem like it's faster. The days have been shortened because the days are literally being shortened for the elect's sake, because we're going to enter a time of everyone on this globe, in this globe, in this planet, especially here in America, we're going to enter a time like never before. so terrible that it's never going to be a time like it again. Okay, here on earth. I'm gonna get that in a Good News Translation. All right, bear with me. Get that in Good News Translation. All right, so the GNT for the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verses 19 to 22. The GNT. How terrible. It says, how terrible it will be in those days for women who are pregnant and for mothers with little babies. And what days? Jacob's trouble, those perilous times, right? Dangerous times. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. Jacob's trouble, the famine, the hour of temptation, the day of the Lord's wrath, YAHAWASHI's wrath. Okay? A purge-like society. When this place just crumbles, it crashes. All right, it's going to be very terrible for you women who are pregnant, who doesn't have a righteous head, a head who's serving YAHAWASHI with fear and trembling, sincere and truth. It's going to be a bad day to be a strong or a so-called strong, single, independent mother, especially one that's pregnant. How terrible it will be for those when women, for women who are pregnant and for mothers with little babies. Verse 20. Pray to YAHAWASHI that you will not have to run away during the winter or on the Sabbath. So you better pray that you don't catch hell during the winter time. All right. It says, verse 21, for the trouble at that time, the times we're coming into, right? Like Jacob's trouble, for example, the day of the Lord, YAHAWASHI. For the trouble at that time will be far more terrible than any there has ever been from the beginning of the world to this very day, nor will there ever be anything like it again. So it's going to get that bad out here. Okay? All right? Very bad. Time like never before. It never ever shall be. Verse 22. But Yahweh, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, has already reduced the number of days. Had he had not done so, nobody would survive. But for the sake of his chosen people, the elect, right? However, YAHWH BAHASHAM will reduce the days. Okay? That's why the days feel like it's rotating much faster. The days seem shorter than usual. Because the days are being shortened for the elect's sake. The days has been reduced because we're going to enter a time like never before. And you best believe that a zombie-like apocalypse is not too far fetched out for our power to do. Because again, what? It's going to be a time like never before. And I'm gonna get something to back that up. It's gonna be my last one too. I'm gonna get in a Good News Translation instead. It's in Deuteronomy though. Get that right quick. All right, so the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verses 58 through 61 in the Good News Translation. It says, if you do not obey faithfully all of the Most High's teachings, YAHWH's teachings that are written in this book, and if you do not honor the wonderful and awesome name of the Lord YAHWH, your God, right? He will send on you and your descendants incurable diseases and horrible epidemics that can never be stopped. Right? Let me get that part in the Good News Trend. I'm just like in KJV. It says fearful need. Fearful need. Hold on. Let me get that real quick. Bear with me. Okay, so in the KJV, it actually says Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 59. It says, if thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, the Holy Bible, that thou mayest fear his glorious and fearful name, the Lord Yahweh thy God. Is all capitalized. The Lord thy God, Lord, our Heavenly Father, in the name of his only begotten Son, YAHWH, right? So now we're going to go back to the GNT. All right. So if you don't, so our people, if you don't fear the name YAHAWASHI and do what he commands and the best of your ability, these are some of the things that's going to happen to you. Verse 59 of GNT. He will send on you and your descendants incurable diseases and horrible epidemics. All right, let's go to epidemics right quick. Okay, wait. Epidemic definition. All right, so for epidemic, right, it says a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. So think of like the name of your county, your city, your community where you live at, right? A disease, some kind of pestilence outbreak is going to break out, right? That sounds like a zombie-like apocalypse, right? Usually, every film like that, it always starts off as an epidemic, and then eventually it grows into a pandemic. A pandemic is, global wide, nationwide, like the whole country, the whole globe. Okay, it starts small, then eventually it grows, and we're constantly seeing a lot of pestilence among us, because that's one of the plagues that's going to be sent upon the people here on earth, especially in America. All right. So it says here in I'm reading again, verse 59. He will send on you and your descendants incurable diseases and horrible epidemics, right? Horrible, widespread occurrence of infectious disease in a community at a particular time. Okay, all right. An outbreak is a similar term, right? So when it says horrible epidemics, horrible outbreaks, horrible plagues, horrible infestations, horrible epidemics. Okay, all right. Outbreak. You got for outbreak, it says the sudden or violent start of something unwelcome, such as war, disease, and etc. So it's going to be horrible outbreaks that's going to just suddenly happen. And it's going to be bad. And I remember some brother, I think a brother had did a lesson on his vision that he noticed in the vision. He heard himself saying, "Yo, 2023 start off with a bang," because I guess he was like outside. He was in an area of like a supermarket, and just out of nowhere, leave like that. Suddenly, remember, suddenly outbreak. It was sudden, right? Zombie-like outbreak took place. It was a sudden epidemic took place because it started off community, then eventually it spread really fast. Okay. Um, let's see, verse 60. He will bring on you once again all the dreadful diseases you experienced in Egypt, and you will never recover. Verse 61. He, right, YAHAWASHI, he will also send all kinds of diseases and epidemics, all kinds of outbreaks, all kinds of pandemics as well too, all kinds of diseases and viruses, right? It says all kinds of diseases and epidemics that are not mentioned in this book of YAHAWASHI's laws and teachings, and you will be destroyed, right? So a zombie-like apocalypse, to say, is not impossible, because we just read it through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI that power, he kills, he wounds, right? He forms a light, he creates darkness, he creates evils, right? He's a power of balance, he does all these things. Okay, he's known by his judgment. Okay, nothing is impossible without power, right? So guess what? A zombie-like apocalypse is not too far out, because in the G&T version, in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 20, 24, verse 21, it goes into how it's going to be a time like never before. All right, just paraphrasing, and it's possible. All right, because what we have pestilences, that's one of the plagues that's going to be sent upon the world. And you know what? Let me get one more to prove that what I just stated. I'm gonna get in second Ezra chapter Ephesians chapter 8 or 9, one of them. Bear with me. Or 15, if I'm mistaken. Yeah, all right. So the book of Second Esdras, chapter 15, verse 49 in the KJVA, right? The book of Second Esdras, chapter 15, verse 49 in the Apocrypha. It says, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence. Pestilence. Similar terms for pestilence, epidemic, pandemic, outbreaks, right? Outbreaks. Let me go back. Hold on. Similar terms would be outbreak, plague, infestation. Right? Let's see what infestation goes into. It says the presence of an unusually large number of insects or animals in a place, typically so as to cause damage or disease. Right? The scripture says how the animals shall change their places. Right? You don't think the animals are going to get affected by the pestilence too? Transmitting such pestilence to other people, to other animals. All right, it's going to get that bad out here, man. All right. So I'm gonna read it again. The book of Second Esdras, chapter 15, verse 49. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood. A lot of women are about to be widows because what? Second Esdras, chapter 16, verse 33 and 34. The virgins mourn, have no bridegrooms. Just paraphrasing. Their husband shall die in the war. All right. Poverty, the state of being very poor. Famine, starvation, lack of goods. Sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. A zombie-like apocalypse is possible. Something like it is going to happen, but it's going to be far beyond our imagination of how we can picture it. But you best believe a zombie-like apocalypse is possible to happen. This is going to happen at some point. All right, we may sound crazy as hell. We don't give a fuck. We sound crazy, but the time's going to come where Ezekiel 33 verse 33 is going to be a slap in the fucking face of you people. That's going to be the best, the biggest I told you so out of all I told you so. Okay? So RAWCHAA the lesson was edifying. And to all for tuning in, RAWCHAA the lesson was edifying. I'm going to close out by giving a much due all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QaDash, and double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone, and much to respect to the sincere Akim for our labor and works, and shalom to you believers, to the Akim or Aquat, which to be your brothers and feudal modern sincere sisters who do subscribe to this truth. All right, DTA, Abba Basum, Kwam Yashala. All right, again, our brothers out the lesson was edifying. All right, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha, Shalak Rayum, 𝐤𝐄𝐄𝐅, 𝐤𝐿 𝐻ARAGYM, 𝐤𝐿 𝐻ADAMWAMYM, 𝐤𝐿 NAWA, Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, the Wada,